This just in! South America is having a busy week. Bolsonaro blunders after boiling up a bubbling potion to potentially poison Brazil's president. Malay's crypto rug pull has Argentinians slipping and sliding. Trump demands Ukraine hand over the keys while Zelensky floats dead in the water. Will BlackRock be the benefactor, or will the people reap the remedy of rewards? Howdy, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good one. Staying warm. I'm pretty convinced that the rare earth speculation is massively played up for a variety of reasons. I mean, it's just like people who say the Amazon was once a metropolis. I mean, it's super easy to tweak LiDAR and make it just lie. Door. But, like, you know, how do you, like, seriously, how can you tell what's below just the single layer of LiDAR? And how can you trust people who lie all the time and use AI, which is just a gigantic lie? It's just a gigantic manipulating factor being trained off of people having little bits of fun. And it's specifically, that's why it's rolled out on so many advertisements. It's specifically meant to lie to people. It's like the Temu, like say other businesses or regular art, Temu is AI. So why would you trust the rare speculation? That just seems like a shell game to me. I consider St. Thomas Aquinas as the Pontifex Maximus of Christendom, the supreme bridge builder whose preter-divine logic could mend schism and convert heathen and heretics alike. I'd strongly suggest studying him. He is my patron saint. And, yeah, patron saint of nerds, I'm gonna tell you that, but patron saint of teachers. And the greatest mind of Catholicism, single greatest mind of Catholicism. You can't really, if you just take Augustine alone, you'll end up being a terrible, terrible Christian. You have to, because he was like a dualist Manichaean. Whereas Aquinas was influenced a lot by Neoplatonic ideals, he still kept it so utterly in line. It's just, you got that Gnostic crap creeping in everywhere. It tries to get everywhere. That's just the rebellion seed sown in people's hearts. Try and make them think, no, it can't be that. For some reason, my instincts flare up, and it can't be that. Well, it is that. Christianity is true. It's not the truth, because the truth is subject to change, but Christianity is true. Now, we have gone back to like 3,000 years mass child and human sacrifice. You know, it's even worse because of the massive amounts of chemicals that people can deploy to kill people even quicker and more slow and more gruesomely. So we've dialed back the clock quite a bit. It's like people were poisoning themselves with random berries, but in mass. So we've dialed back the clock quite a bit in this attempt to get rid of Christendom. And it's all of us. It isn't just a certain subsection of people. It's all of us who allows it to happen, really. Whether you get like, you see people who for literally like an extra $200, $300 a year will parrot the worst and most deceiving philosophies. And it's sad, man. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Because at least get paid, for God's sakes. Don't be a cheap whore. Pardon my language, but that's exactly what happens when you allow yourself to become a Zionist puppet. That's how they treat people. That's why they're the pornographers. Duh. Come on now. Get it together. They're being pornographers. The Phoenicians have been pornographers for like 3,000 years. Get it together. You know, the fine line between barbarism and pragmatism is delineated through acts of strategic morality. And that's not just altruism, it's a pragmatism. You can have marble countertops and traffic, or an outhouse and nature and peace, but you can't have both. You see, the resources that you rely on are reliant on other people's work. And it's as simple as that. And the most noble people aren't what would be considered working class, because most of the working class are literally just slaves for some particular system or county area philosophy. And like, lots of people die for an idea, right? But a lot of those ideas aren't right? And so it's very venerable to have this homesteading philosophy and just kind of shoot out and try to make it the best. But then people clear out massive areas of the forest. They ruin their particular part of the world. More people move into that. And then what do you know? City pops up right there. So you got to do it intelligently. You have to know your balance and your place in this world, which is as a subject and an equal co-partner in nature and not a ultimate dominator and, you know, the person who, instead of allowing themselves to be first among equals, considers themselves the only one worthy of consideration. That is a sickness. That is a sickness. There's also a fine Vegas line between synchronistic flow and incessant oarless yapping. I'm sure you'll find that out on this show. It sucks that people will take in Warhammer 40k content sourced from a lackluster writer from Black Library's retinue and then permanently dislike it because first impressions matter. You know, Gav Thorpe is an amazing writer, but if you run into something like the Tallyman saga, you'll be like, what the hell is this? Throw this crap away. This is for losers. You know? Straight up. I wonder who funded that Tallyman crap. It's crazy that they have the Emperor's Children, the most degenerate, based on the Phoenicians. Well, at least namesaked after the Phoenicians. The most degenerate legion in all 20 of them. And they're ascendant because of the actions of Israel, and they also went out to Las Vegas to show people their Phoenicians. That's wild, you know. They're on point, but it's also really, really funny to observe that sort of business strategy. Because it is on point, but it's like that crazy Miami Zionist shooting it to other Zionists and them like, thank you, sir, may I have another? I bet they put out all that stuff about wanting to kill Arabs after they survived. Apparently the guy that shot them thought that he shot them dead. Because they probably wanted people to run the specific part of, we were victims of an anti-Semitic attack, but the guy did nothing wrong. Oh. Okay. I see DeSantis running ads for no reason, praising himself and putting down immigrants. Well, you're a loser, buddy. Oh, you are a loser. You lost. All the stuff that could have got red meat you could have tossed to your base is going to get gobbled up, buddy. So even if you are the next pick, the two-party system is actively dissolving, and you're the last sucker holding the bag who actually sold their immortal soul, and you got nothing. And that's one of the reasons why he's like legitimately so stupid, is because he can fall for that. And a lot of people have already tapped out. A lot of people have already decided, you know what the young people are saying is right. We don't got to continue this. There's diminishing returns for it anyways. I'm to shift strategy, but he's like, nope. Oh, man. Biden probably straight up permanently tapped out the PR for Israel. So, like, the fact that DeSantis' name is written in blood contract to Israel. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, oh, buddy. Oh, Lord, have mercy. It's wild that Italy and Britain and Russia and Germany and even the Ottomans claimed the Caesarian mantle, but the only one to genuinely take it was Napoleonic France. Not through succession, or political maneuvering, or wealth alone, but through willpower and strategy. Now, one could say that Britain kind of did it, but you know what Britain more resembles? Britain more resembles a Mongol empire of the sea. That's what they resemble. Britain resembles a Mongol empire of the sea. They don't resemble a new Julius Caesar. They don't resemble a... and crossing the Rubicon is, of course, Going up into winter, going up to Russia in the wintertime, that's way bigger than crossing any Rubicon. That should be the phrase, really. People have beaten that phrase to death. Crossing the Rubicon, they have beaten that phrase to death on both sides. So going into Russia in the winter, that should be the thing. How the heck the Portuguese president named Montenegro? That's a different dang country! But here's the kicker. Alchemy was beaten back for centuries before it became entwined in the neoliberal religion of the First World. And now we're all filled with poisons and we're all filled with plastic. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Apparently Bernie voted against Tulsi Gabbard, his former campaign chair. What a cock. What a cock. And now he's just like, it's a sad day for America. The good people are in the cabinet. Now it's gonna make things bad for me and my fundraising. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. You know, that's the only a politician I've ever given money to. I gave him $30. And that's about average to what other people gave him. $27 was the average. And yeah. Who knows? I was always very worried about the implications of him becoming president, but I also expected them to kill him and him to be a martyr president, and for what happened under JFK to not happen again, but instead people to rise up and change the system forcibly. But Trump's just going to do that himself, and then people will reform their own system out of the vacuum. That's what's going to happen. And you know what? For somebody who lives in the beating heart of evil, for somebody who lives in the worst state in the country at this point, except for maybe Texas, but like, there's not worse people in Texas. That's the thing. There are all the worst people in the entire country. All the worst people in New York, all the worst people in California, all the worst people in various states that can afford to come here moved into Florida in the last 4 years. It's one of the reasons why I dunk on DeSantis so much is because he's such an evil loser cuck monster getting onto the boat at the very last minute and getting pushed off. And that couldn't have happened to a better person. And let me tell you, if I say from somebody who's living in Florida that Trump is the best thing for the country, you should listen to me more than somebody living out in the woods with a MAGA hat. Now, I do have a nice Trump hat. It has Trump on the front of it instead of MAGA. That's mainly, it's actually my dad's. But I'll wear that, you know. However, not a red meat, permanent Republican, dedicated to the two-party system like an idiot, playing myself sort of guy. I am sitting in the worst heart of political darkness, human trafficking, drug trafficking, violence at a very, very close precipice from consistency. And there's been like child trafficking networks all over this state that have likely come more and more popped up in the state since Zionism took off real bad. And let me tell you, like, you wanna see Trump get in here and change the system drastically, because what we're seeing, it cannot continue. It cannot continue. It is evil, destructive, emasculating, debt-ridden, bleeding everybody else and then yourself with seppuku sort of system. Can't have that. I think Trump is a good paragon of aristocracy, and Elon is like a techno-Platonist. Meanwhile, DeSantis lets a commune of baby killer parasites dictate his every move, and that's exactly why he's also a cuck. It's super funny that they're clucking about pagers, not realizing nobody will trade with them anymore. Nobody wants to trade with you. Nobody wants to be your friend. Nobody wants to have a partnership with you. You can have fun with your Saudi Arabian neighbors. But BRICS and the general morality of an independent Europe and America turning on you slowly is going to leave you in a much... That's exactly why they're clucking so hard, is because they know right round the corner is their inevitable justice. And I can't wait. It's literally hell to be locked in with Zionists as your only allies, cracking their abysmal jokes ad infinitum and filleting themselves for killing children. I would rather carpool cross country with a bunch of pit bulls, let me tell you. That is 10 times safer. With my babies and a bunch of pit bulls all unattended in the back of the van for cross country. And all the babies have fried chicken deodorant on. That's safer than making your bed with Zionists. And for what, too? AI slop? It's like building with plastic just because it's easy. Good luck with that, buddy. It's like everybody is an amateur Soros now trying to sell money with crypto for profit. You're selling money for profit. You not realize how stupid that is? Genuinely, do you not realize how stupid it is that you're selling money? You're just a little amateur Soros cleaning up after the crumbs of what these big players actually do and doing the same thing and suffering just as much soul degradation while not reaping any of the benefits. It's sad. It's sad. And good thing I told Noel about all the benefits of silver shortly before he started saving. I love throwing my back out loading the bed of my RAM. I love my RAM. I love lift kits. Still though, like you hardly ever see like one of those big jacked up trucks, one of those stupid unnecessarily large Rams where people are bouncing on the inside of their cockpit if they get into an accident. And it's making like it's 50% of the engine's capacity is dedicated to making noise instead of actually power. It's funny, you don't ever actually see a lot of these people hauling stuff, and it's usually skinny guys, short guys, fat guys, old guys. That's the general RAM purchaser, owner. Small guys, short guys, Ram 3500s. That's exactly why women have been saying for decades, your giant truck is the epitome of little dick energy. Let's not dwell on that. The deeply emasculated culture is why, and you get that from exactly what I was just talking about, the deeply emasculated culture, emasculated, not emasculating, but already emasculated, already beaten down, is why guys buy things, false masculinity, like dude wipes and Black Rifle coffee. That's why that happens. That's why they gotta walk around and strut like peacocks. That's why they gotta be hyper aggressive. And yeah, I never expected to see men, my language, my skin color, my general culture hitting people below the belt, tormenting children, torturing animals. But I give you my word, it's Nazism. Nazism's long-term plan, and it was meted out through the CIA, which is being dismantled at the moment. Nazism's long-term plan was to completely and utterly obliterate Western culture. And they think Nordic culture is an actual thing, but they're a backwater. They're a backwater in Western culture. And they were always resentful towards the actual rulers of Europe, the Celts. They were always resentful to the Catholics that took their place later on. They were always lying and deceiving about how history has gone about. And it's not to say that they've never done any good things. I don't want to be like them and say that they've never done any good things and that the Celts are the only people in all of history that have managed anything like they say about the Germans. But straight up, Nazism is about lies, 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 lies. The complete and utter destruction of the equator and the destruction of the ice caps so that there's only a small amount of place to live in the Nordic area And then that will cause a domino effect that will destroy the world completely. Whether it's through an ice age from the Deepwater Ocean currents or just boiling Earth as all the plants die and there's nothing to stabilize the atmosphere and it goes back to a primordial state. It can happen. It can happen. Don't think just because idiots are talking about things like global warming and they have no idea what they're talking about that it can't happen. It can happen. And making a bunch of noise and being super annoying and tormenting animals and dropping chemicals on everybody. That was always the Nazi plan. And we should have never let them go. We should have killed every single one of them. But it is what it is. People in the West, they're a little bit too nice. Too nice for our own good, I'd say. But hey, I suggest keeping that niceness, keeping that duty, keeping that decency. Do not become the monster you seek to slay. But at the end of the day, if you fall for it, you are the enemy. Or at least you have allowed the enemy to dwell inside of your heart, and you're destined for a very, very bad end unless you turn. So if you are one of those people, because I know a couple of you listen to this show just to try and pick something with all the spare time you have. You know, you should turn to the light. All right, y'all. Cheers.